So we developed different things. We were given a room in old pediatric block, and we established a unit, operationalized it, and then we started getting PPE from ICU and all these things. We operationalized that stuff. Now the challenge was to give instructions, so we developed this pictorial guideline. Okay, because there was a lot of resentment that who will decide what I should wear or not. We said, okay, you will be the one who will decide, right? If you think this is not good enough, throw it, no question asked. So we developed these guidelines. You can see it's available online, elaborate, very thorough. QC, no bag will be open till the QC is over. We set this thing, this is brief. You see, this is how it starts. People are working, then it becomes foggy, and we sort of take care of it. Then my lab, if there are some sports bodybuilds, they will be cleaned by bleach, and they were ready. So this is the first data. So we could recover about 70% of them. So first lot, then we start as the cases going up, the PP start getting higher and higher. So just within the first month itself, we saved nearly 20 lakh. But what was important was that AIMS could retain the access of high quality PPE. And the cost of this cycle was, I think it turned out to be 6 rupees per PPE. Right? This work was published in Gut Pathogens, very highly cited work. Then Royal Society contacted us and featured our work as a most innovative work along with NASA and US government. Then WHO included this method in its policy document that in limited conditions, you should maybe try these kind of things. So, and then Bureau of Standards and other government agencies, we also facilitated. So this was circulated to all medical colleges, whoever sought our help, and internationally also. My lab, we work on things. And then we also developed a viral transport media, which was highlighted by Nature as the discovery from India. Up to 55 degree, this is stable. You don't need cold chain and all it, and it kills the virus at the time of collection. Now we are evaluating it for zoonosis. If anyone wants to evaluate the species, they are more than welcome. We are also working on this hospital-acquired infection thing. We realize formites are the source of infection. So these, we are working with IIT Delhi. Up to 100 washes, we see 99% or 95% reduction in escape pathogens. So this is work in the progress. And with that, we have a long group and multiple collaborators across the centers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Vikram, for highlighting the achievements. They are very practical, and the cost is a great factor, especially in a country like ours, which comprises today the largest population in the world. So we have to make these things reach to the common person. That can only happen if there is economic involved in it. Thank you so much for making great effort.
I request the chairpersons to kindly felicitate Dr. Vikram. I'd request Dr. Kuldeep Singh, sir, to kindly felicitate Dr. Rashmi as the chairperson of the session.
So now we are moving to a very important session, which is on a panel discussion, the future of One Health, learning from the past. For this, I would like to invite the dignitaries, faculty, and the scientists among us. Dr. Suresh. Dr. Suresh is from Bangalore, and he is epidemiologist, veterinary epidemiologist, and is working as a part of the One Health Consortium. Dr. Prasan Priya Nayak, he is Additional Professor in Physiology at AIMS Jodhpur. Dr. Preeti K. Dr. Preeti is Associate Professor in Psychiatry with a specialization in the geriatric psychiatry. Dr. Rahul Saxena. Dr. Rahul Saxena is Additional Professor in Pediatric Surgery. Dr. Rajesh Jorawat, he is Associate Professor in Nephrology at AIMS Jodhpur. Dr. Vikram Saini, he is Associate Professor in Biotechnology at AIMS Delhi. Dr. Kamlakant Shukla, he is Additional Professor in Biochemistry at AIMS Jodhpur. Dr. Hari Krishna, he is Associate Professor in Anatomy at AIMS Jodhpur. So this is a galaxy of the people who are there to answer some of the few intriguing questions which have been prepared by our professor and head in microbiology, Professor Vijay Lakshmi Nag Madam. And I invite Professor Nag Madam to moderate this session. To back up, we also have Dr. Naresh Nebrani, Professor and Head of Psychiatry, and he will be posing few questions which are related to the One Health concept.
Thank you very much. A very good afternoon and very warm welcome to all of you. Welcome to our panelists also. I would like to congratulate the whole team of NAMSCON 2024, especially the organizing chairperson, Dr. Kuldeep Singh, and organizing secretary, Dr. Pankaj Bharadwaj, and other team members for organizing such a prestigious event at AIMS Jodhpur. I am thankful to all for giving me the opportunity to moderate the panel discussion and be the part of National Academy of Medical Sciences, National CME. We know that One Health agenda is not new. There were so many pandemics in the past, and we have learned lesson various time. We stimulated ourselves and then we forgot. Even after learning from past, the human, animal, and environmental health system are working individually. There is no coordination, but recent COVID-19 pandemic has given a non-forgettable lesson. It underscored the interconnectedness of human, animal, and environmental health and highlighted the urgent need for a One Health approach. The policymaker at the global, national, and local levels are active in these directions. And the approach has already discussed in various global and national forums. Our goal for today's discussion is to obtain possible solutions for the integrated, multi-centric approach based on One Health agenda to risks identification for early detection and in containment of future emerging diseases. So we have here various expert faculties from AIMS Jodhpur and also from other institutions. And they are working on the One Health agenda. First, I would like to Dr. K.P. Suresh. He is the principal scientist, ICAR, National Institute of Veterinary Epidemiology and Disease Informatics, Bangalore. And his area of specialization is research methodology, biostatistics, epidemiology, disease remodeling, remote sensing, and GIS modeling. So, Dr. Suresh, you are working on this aspect, but the artificial intelligence, when we hear the term artificial intelligence, we are very much interested to know what is this. and how it is applicable in One Health agenda. Now, Dr. Suresh, what is the early warning system, how it can be implemented in One Health perspective? I would like to know, and please give your vision on this One Health approach.
Thank you, madam, for the questions posed. We are, I think, everybody were working on infectious diseases. Similarly, National Institute of Veterinary Epidemiology and Disease Informatics, we are also working on zoonotic diseases as well as livestock diseases, and mainly focusing on forecasting of livestock diseases. Almost 15 diseases we are forecasting, almost 750 districts every month. 2 months in advance, we predict the disease and circulate all the veterinary officials to take preventive measures before occurrence of the disease. This is what our work. But looking at the threats, so when defense mechanism, you can just observe, recall that how in a country makes the defensive mechanism. There is a threat and defense mechanism, army, navy, and air force, and others will be there. Similarly, microorganisms are the threats. They are the diseases. They are the threats for this one. We have to have the mechanisms to defense mechanisms like the four P's: the prediction, prevention, perception or tracing, and preparedness. 4 P's. These are our strength. One side there is a threat, another side we have a strength that how to attack the threats. So prediction comes, there are 3 layers in the prediction. That is risk assessment. For example, as sporadic conditions, disease is circulating somewhere else in some other country. We need to know whether the incursion in a particular country, our country, is likely to have in recent or not. In the COVID, we have experienced that for preparedness, best preparedness. That is entry, release assessment, entry assessment, pathways we have to define, and consequences we have to estimate. We are in Nivedi, we are working on FMD serotypes. There are 7 serotypes. The mainly AO and Asias are circulating in India, whereas different other 4 serotypes are not circulating in India, other countries. We need to prepare. We need to work out the assessment, risk assessment, set up the risk assessment model to see that whether the other serotypes, incursion of other serotypes in India, and so that we can make a preparedness for that. The preparedness is a very important. The second layer of the prediction is, I am telling about 4 layers, that is 4 P's: prediction, prevention, perception or detection, preparedness. Second, under the prediction, second layer is the risk prediction. Risk prediction by the artificial intelligence machine learning, which is Nivedi, our institute is doing on 15 livestock diseases. Using artificial intelligence and machine learning models, we have a database of 30 years livestock disease database, monthly wise resolution. We predict the disease 2 months in advance using machine learning model at accuracy of laboratory accuracy of 90% and field level accuracy of 70 to 80%, so that we are circulating well in advance to the government, so that they can take all the state governments and the central government, so that they can take a preventive measures before occurring of the diseases. This is what a prediction model goes with that. Next, the layer is mathematical model or stochastic models.
So,
That is
Dr. Suresh, I will interrupt you because I will give you another chance to explain yourself because so many
okay.
panelists
I
are
will
there.
complete the one.
Yeah, yes, sir.
The stochastic models with our epidemic models, prediction of epidemics. Whenever the epidemics prediction, what happened in the COVID-19, generally what happened COVID-19, the America, we could have seen that, you can recall that the prediction happens when how many, based on the R naught value. In India also we predicted. India, we had a Sutra software which is to predict all the things, the COVID-19 infections. In America particularly is very good application they have developed, artificial machine learning models. They would be able to predict size of the infections and duration of infection, so that they can prepare very well, manage the ICU beds, wards and everything. So that is what my afterwards I can, if a chance is given, I can talk about prevention, perception and preparedness. Thank you very much.
Definitely, sir. Definitely, I will give you chance again. The use of animal model to study the human health is an example of One Health approach. which aim to optimize the health of people, animal, and the environment. The rat model can provide critical information on non-communicable diseases in humans, such as cancer, development abnormalities, and neuropsychiatric disorder, and also the reproductive disorders. We have the very good animal house here in the AIMS Jodhpur, and we also have the BSL-3 lab in AIMS. And we have the very advanced molecular lab also. So we have the various facilities for the One Health approach in the way for the research. So Dr. Prasun Priyanayak is here, who is working, who is the professor, Department of Physiology at AIMS Jodhpur, and concentrating on the environment, food safety, animal and human health. So Dr. Prasun, you are working on the rat model for different diseases. Dr. Nayak, please tell us how you have decided to work on the rat model and what are the diseases in which you are using this model and how it is satisfying the One Health approach.
Thank you, madam. Good afternoon, everyone. As such, the One Health project, One Health concept, it takes many things, many components, but here we are taking the environmental factors, food safety, animal health, as well as human health together for this, out of these, all the components. We are working particularly in a specific metalloestrogen that is abundantly present in the environment, and it's entering into the biosystem through food and other daily uses. This metal, it's a having estrogenic property. It has the capacity to disturb reproductive cycle, reproductive capacity. So for male, it can produce the reproductive capacity, or female reproductive cycles can be disturbed. And recently, from IMS Jodhpur also, from some unexplained reproductive problem in males have been have been found to be associated with this metalloestrogen. Because it is omnipresent, because it is everywhere, it can easily enter into our body. We thought that this model, this metal can be utilized or can be explored. And we noticed that it can be used in like reprotoxicity. It has role in neuropsychiatric disorder. It has problem with dyslipidemia or autoimmune disorders. So we have initiated a model with rat, and from that we are many things we are doing with along with the uh, cardiovascular health, autonomic functions, then neurodegenerative evaluation in animal we are doing. This thing can be also true for the animal health. We are doing it as an animal model for the human health, which can be extrapolated to human health, but it can be true for the animal health. And if it is so, then it can be like a tremendous effect on the farmer's economy. So overall, we are taking care of human health, environment, as well as food safety and the animal, human health and animal health. In addition to these, apart from this metalloestrogen, we have some other model of animal experiments.
So Dr. Prasun, I want to interrupt because you have a big team here.
Yes.
And you are working with collaboration with other faculties in the department, different departments.
Yes.
Because you are the in charge of animal house also. So definitely where the animal is used, you are the coordinator.
Yes, madam.
So can you introduce your team which is here and what they are working, they can tell about their self?
Yeah, sure, madam. We have Dr. Kamlakant Sukla. He is additional professor in biochemistry, and he is working on cancer, prostate cancer. I would request him to talk about this.
Good afternoon, everybody. Actually, I am working in the effect of the epigenetics modification in the prostate cancer. So we know the epigenetics study is the how cell regulate the gene expression without the changing of the DNA sequence. So means gene is turn off or turn on. So, and the most important things, we don't have good, like the prostate cancer, we have not good sensitive biomarker for the screen or diagnose the patient. We have the PSA, DRE, but that is not most sensitive. So I am trying to establish the diagnostic markers and therapeutic marker in the prostate cancer by the epigenetics and the nanomedicine and CRISPR-Cas.
Thank you, Dr. Sugla. Next, we have a model of, we are using a model of polycystic ovarian syndrome. Dr. Hare Krishna, Associate Professor and Department of Anatomy. He is working in that. I would request Dr. Hare Krishna to talk about.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, ma'am, and good afternoon to all of you. So, as you know, the polycystic ovarian syndrome is one of the common endocrinal disorder which is affecting the women in reproductive age, and its prevalence varies from 6 to 21%, and the prevalence of the infertility due to this PCOS syndrome is ranging from 70 to 80%. So, how this is a big problem. So the exact pathophysiology of the PCOS is not exact clear yet, and there is a management of the PCOS is also limited here. So that's why we are plan to establish a PCOS rat model which insulin resistant in our institute here. So for this, we are using the letrozole, that is a which is a aromatase inhibitor here. And what is the role of the aromatase inhibitor? It inhibits the conversion of the testosterone to the estrogen. That leads to increase the level of the testosterone. So the main feature of the PCOS is a hyperandrogenism. And for obesity, we are using the high-fat diet here. This high-fat diet causes central obesity in rat, which ultimately leads to the lesser concentration of the adiponectin and free fatty acid. That leads to the PCOS model with insulin resistant
So,
here.
Dr. Hari Krishna, I would like to ask you, how did you decided to work on this topic?
Yes.
How, from
Yes,
what
yes.
you have initiated,
Yes.
and whether it is satisfying the One Health approach or not?
Okay, so the One Health is a approach that includes the environmental, human, animal, and also the environmental factor here. So here we are using the use of natural product, that is a phytoestrogen, and this phytoestrogen contains the isoflavones, and isoflavones contents in mainly into the in greater amount in the soybeans here. So what is the phytoestrogen? It is a analog to the estrogen, so which acts on the estrogen receptors here. So in case of PCOS, what we'll find here, the estrogen level is down, so estrogen receptors are free. So these phytoestrogen, which are weak ligand, can act on these receptors and can produce the estrogenic effect. So that will be helpful in the PCOS in a rat model. Later on, we will decide into the human model in future.
So, Dr.
Thanks.
Hare Krishna, please tell me, because you are learning, you are doing this research from very beginning. So, is there any past experience, and you are gaining something new in the future for the future?
Previously in the rat model, there is only the PCS model, but the obesity point is not considered. So here we are consider the obesity point because the PCOS is always associated with the obesity with insulin resistant. So in this model, we are considering the obesity and insulin resistant also.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Hare Krishna. So next we are moving to Dr. Rajesh Jarwat. He is from nephrology department. He has initiated a problem which is localized, having problem with the nutritional problem, food factor, as well as environmental factor. Dr. Rajesh
So,
will.
Dr. Rajesh, how the environmental factors and nutritional status affect the kidney health through the animal model? You are using it studying for the pathophysiology of the disease. So, what is your experience?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. I'm doing a study in rat model regarding the pathophysiology of CKD. And we have seen that CKD, one of the epidemics that is coming in near future, and this is going to be a very important public health problem for worldwide. So we know that CKD is caused by diabetes, hypertension, and genetic disease, renal stone disease. But there are still around 12 to 16% of cases we don't know what is the cause of that. So to know the cause of these remaining cause of CKD, we often call it as a CKDU of unknown origin. This disease is often seen in patients with who are working for in the extreme climate like hot and humid climates. Those who are manual laborer, agriculturalists, and they are often suffer with this type of disease. So we trying to generate the same type of environment in the rat and try to see how these extreme environmental factors are affecting the renal tubules of the rats and how these extreme environment like increase osmolality induce oxidative stress in the renal tubules and how it convert into the fibrosis or damage in the organ. So with that, we are trying to find how these environmental factors, malnutritions in the patients affecting the tubular health or kidney health, and that is we are replicating in rat models. So in the sense that we are generating pathophysiology information regarding the CKDU, and it will not only limited to the human, but if the same things happen to the animal also, we can use this information for the health of the animal also. So there is a vice versa, both side we can use this information and that unify our vision of one health. So that is our purpose of
So,
doing
Dr.
this.
Jodavat, I would like to ask you regarding what are the areas from where you are taking your sample, means you selected the cases, and second, have you done any other coordination with any other center, or you are locally doing with inside the institute, AIMS Jodhpur only?
Uh, Ma'am, we have done a study in the past. We coordinated with the other tertiary care center like SMS Medical College, and we found that the prevalence of this CKDU is around 12 to 16% in Rajasthan. But this disease can be high even to 25 to 30% in different part of the world, and especially in Andhra, where in the district like Uddam district, where the prevalence is so high that the name is Uddam nephropathy. So the prevalence is quite high, around 25 to 30%. So they have a variation in different locations, geographical locations, but this type of disease is more located near the equator regions where the climate condition is quite adverse or very high humid and hot climate is there. So the countries which are located near to the equator often face high prevalence of CKDU. And in our Rajasthan part, it is around 12 to 16%, but we especially look in the western part of Rajasthan, we have to look how it is increased or that need to be looked. We are working on that.
Thank you, Dr. Jodhpur. In morning, Dr. Katoj, in his keynote, addressed that 22 BSL-3 laboratories were created by the DHR and the ICMR coordination. So, the laboratory biosafety and biosecurity practices are largely pathogen-driven and can support the One Health concept, but specific practices from relevant biomedical sectors may improve procedure and protocol. I have here Dr. Vikram Sani, who is very much concerned with this. Dr. Vikram, how do you see One Health impacting your house? In fact, means impacting your work from a safety and security perspective in diagnosis, basic research in healthcare providers.
It's a great question, ma'am. I fondly recall Dr. Katoch mentioned, and since COVID, actually, India has dramatically improved its BSL-3 infrastructure. Now you are asking me a question about the experimental and diagnosis part. So the challenge that is, and we go to different institutes pan India, where BSL-3 infrastructure is there. One of the fundamental challenges the lack of training the staff, because most of the staff work very transiently. They are not very well trained. Most of the places that I have been to, like in CDC program where we used to work, you have to pass an exam, you have to qualify the exam, you have to score certain marks, then there will be 2 to 3 months of observership. You will work under someone who is trained. They will keep an eye that you are doing right things, you are following SOPs, you are doing all the things right, so that you are trained and then you can train other people. But unfortunately, that kind of structure is not at place at all the places. There is a need to develop those kind of structures. There is an India centric training program we can evolve, we can develop. And then in those programs, we need to involve our healthcare workers, technicians, all these things. And then also, I have also seen that emergency preparedness activities are not there. The staff or even the resource person there are not handled to cater to emergencies. How will you, if someone faints, how will you take them out of the base? If there's a fire, how emergency responders will perform some things. So these things are um, at very infancy, I would say. And then important thing is whosoever is faculty in charge or scientist, they are supposed to do everything, which is sometimes not possible because they have other commitments also. So there is a need to have a dedicated scientist who is trained in class 3 work, who can handle and run these facility and develop SOP, facilitate the faculty and the staff and the scientists to these things. In laboratory setting, coming to the original question that how is different from laboratory and so in clinic diagnosis, the sample may be of complex etiology. You don't know what the patient is carrying. One of the saving grace is that sometimes the burden of infection is less compared to in laboratory setting where you work with very concentrated sample. So you have to develop accordingly suitable protocols, suitable PPE, and all these things have to be developed. But clinical sample also has to be, in my opinion, dealt with the similar kind of urgency and similar kind of precautions, because I have seen when we tell people, especially staff, that okay, you should do this, then they tell, I have been doing it for 10 years. मुझे
So,
कुछ नहीं हुआ.
so
Something like
yes, sir, definitely, Dr. Vikram, the BSL-3 is the facility which is very important and to be managed perfectly, because without the knowledge, without the training, nobody can operate it. And but one thing you have mainly discussed about the operational part, but how the BSL-3s are, you are thinking they are connected with the One Health, and how they are going to be utilized for the One
Oh,
Health.
definitely. I mean, so most of the viruses, emerging viruses, the zoonotic bacterial infections, they are class 3 pathogens. So right now, their diagnosis is taking place in class 2 environment, and that causes unnecessary risk. So all these diagnosis of genetic infections, which is essentially major component of One Health, along with the human samples that has to be performed inside the BSL-3 environment to ensure safety of our healthcare workers and the field staff. Because and also one important thing is the BSL-3 training can help when people go in the field to collect sample. Most of the people are not trained, so if they can be sensitized and trained in BSL-3 practices, as good as, I mean, we have seen sample collection, for example. Someone has collected sample, sometimes you open, vial is broken, and all these things which are causing unnecessary exposure to the people. So I would say strengthening the training program will in purpose, whether you have BSL-3, don't have
So,
BSL-3. will benefit the One Health?
So because these 22 or 23 BSL-3 were developed during the COVID time, and they were not utilized properly and underutilized. So the government has already initiated a project that is integrated project, which is in coordination with the animal health, environment health, and the human health. So this is the good utilization of these type of laboratories. Thank you. Now I would request Dr. Naresh. He is the psychiatry department professor in psychiatry at AIMS Jodhpur, and he is the right person to ask any question to a psychiatrist. Dr. Preeti, who is the assistant professor in the AIMS Delhi.
So, very good evening, and thank you very much, organizers, our dear Kuldeep sir and Pankaj sir, for giving us some opportunity on stage. And since we are talking about One Health since morning, and much less has been talked and done for mental health. So, here is Dr. Preeti Kathirajan, who is our former faculty 2 years before she left us for AIMS Delhi. And she's working there looking after the mental health division of geriatric population as well as general psychiatry. She's MD and DM in addiction psychiatry from AIMS Delhi. Good to have you here in the home institution. Here my question is, how does environment impact mental health of an individual?
Thank you, sir. From morning to till now, we have been discussing about One Health, which is a holistic concept, which is integrating environmental, animal, and the human health. And human health, it is incomplete without mental health. So there is no health without mental health. And then as a psychiatrist, I'm a strong advocate for that. So as we know, nearly 30 to 40% of people with chronic physical illness do develop some psychiatric symptoms. Similarly, each and every factor in our environment, it can impact our mental health. And that is very important for us to know. Most of the research, if you see, it will be predominantly related to trauma or disasters. For example, natural disasters like tsunami comes up, yeah, some earthquake comes up, then there is a very high risk of stress reactions, depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. However, at the same time, it is important for us to know even subtle climate changes, it also affects the human's mental health very badly. For example, recent example at Delhi, we have a huge air quality, very poor air quality index, and that is impacting the people from going out of their homes, and that is causing loneliness, that is causing isolation, and that again impacts the mental health. Similarly, we also know about COVID-19. It was a zoonotic disease which started in bats, which translated to humans, and that also impacted the mental health of so many people, and there was a significant increase in depression, anxiety disorder, digital addiction among the people. So whatever happens in the environment, it can affect the humans also. Even the climate changes, for example, there is global warming. So if there is a excessive heat, extremes of heat, it will decrease our motivation. For example, if it is very hot outside or very cold outside, we would try to remain at home. We will try to remain within the four walls of our institute or home and not explore outside. So that decreases the motivation, that decreases the coping skills which we have, and that can impact and it can lead to a lot of depression and anxiety disorders, etc. At the same time, so it is not only negative, there are also positive effects of the environment and the animal health. For example, if we are exposed to some green spaces, so whenever we are building homes, we try to make sure that there are greeneries around. That is not just for reduction in the pollution, it also gives us peace of mind. Doing yoga or meditation in a calm environment, just imagine if you're in a natural space, in a Himalayas or in a forest area, and you are doing some relaxation exercise, it leads to a lot of relaxation. It leads to reduction in the depression and anxiety. Similarly, there are pet therapies where people use some domestic animals like dogs, cats, etc., especially in patients with dementia or in patients with depression. That reduces the loneliness, that increases the companionship, and it helps in improving. So the environment, the animal health, and the human health are interrelated. And this is something which I wanted to highlight, that One Health is incomplete without taking into consideration the mental health.
Yeah, thank you. In the same thread, how does mental health of an individual is affecting the environment or animal health?
Thank you, sir. So again, the mental health of an individual is very, very important for us to work productively. So if a person is having depression or anxiety disorder, the person will not have a motivation to do anything. For example, if I'm looking at the pollution and I'm feeling depressed, oh no, we cannot do anything. So we will just remain in the room and not do anything. We will not take any steps to do here. the fact that all of us are here trying to collaborate, it shows our commitment to bring about change in the world, to bring it as a holistic One Health. And that is possible only because we are having a stable, we are in a stable mental health. When we are having a depression or anxiety disorder, we will not be able to do that. So it is necessary for an individual to have a good mental health in order to take up some actions for the problems that is happening. At the same time, even if I'm having depression, I will not take care of myself. My sanitation will go down. I will not take care of myself. I will not take a bath. If I have to go and wash my hands, if there is COVID going around, I will not do that. Why? What is the purpose? Anyway, we are all going to die. If I'm having a negative attitude, it is going to lead to exacerbation of the physical conditions also. Similarly, I will not take care of the pet animals. I will not take care of the uh, plants and gardens or the trees if I'm not in a good mental health. So it is so the good mental health of an individual is equally important for this One Health in order to have a good animal health as well as for the environmental health.
Yeah, thank you. So to sum up in this thread that our promotive positive mental health as well as physical health is going to give us more energy and a direction to collaborate with other stakeholders as well as to take care of our health as well as health of the universe at large in One Health.
Yes.
And in the same thread, we used to see in the our discussion that whenever the clients are coming to any health facility, be it physical health or mental health, we are just seeing the disease part or disorder part, but larger the social and environmental determinants we are not touching up. One Health is bringing up to those environmental and social determinants from where the illness is coming. Thank you. Over to ma'am.
So mental health is very important, we know from the COVID pandemic, because this is the only one thing where we are saved from the COVID. Because if the mental health was not there, we and the this in the remaining time, what we were doing in the house, we were just close, living inside the closed houses, and without doing any activities, we were dependent on these type of activities like yoga, do these exercise, that exercise, to control the mental balance. Otherwise, this was very difficult to live in this type of environment with so much fear. So thank you, Dr. Preeti. Now I would like to again give the chance to Dr. Suresh, who had not finished his uh, things.
Thank you, madam, for giving an opportunity. So I was talking about prediction, perception, prevention, and perception. That means detection and preparedness. Uh, Prediction, there are three layers. Risk assessment model, setting up risk assessment model, setting up prediction models based on the previous data, if data is available, and prediction of epidemics. Epidemics is very important. It's abnormal situation where we have to be ready, preparedness. Some preparedness solutions are required. So in the perception or detection, it is also called perception of detection. In that there are we have to build these surveillance models. Surveillance models are very, very important. There is active surveillance and passive surveillance. Within the active surveillance, there are different settings. National level active surveillance, pure active surveillance, risk-based surveillance, only risk factors will consider. Then different settings, like I am involved in the slaughterhouse settings surveillance model, bird sanctuary surveillance models, settings, different settings we can make a surveillance model so that we can early detection and other things can be, so that disease can be early detected in one health setting. And preparedness, you know that it is a policy makers and response that has to become from the government side. If preparedness is possible, when the preparedness is not possible, all the prediction, prevention, and detection will go in main. That's what I want to conclude.
Thank you, Dr. Suresh. So one thing still remain, one agenda, that is the antimicrobial resistance. I am very sorry that nobody is from medicine department who can take this opportunity and say something. But who is there? But I am the microbiologist, so I would like to say a few words about the antimicrobial resistance. Like the antimicrobial resistance has been considered within the 10 threats in the country, and this is going to this is a slow pandemic declared by WHO also. So what we have done, the National Action Plan on Antimicrobial Resistance was launched in 2017 April by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. And this National Action Plan to curb the antimicrobial resistance is in the alignment with the Global Action Plan of WHO. So this action plan, National Action Plan, has 6 strategies. However, in Global Action Plan, only 5 strategies are there, but in National Action Plan, there are 6 strategies. And this 6 strategy, the leadership is the own strategy of the nation, means India specific. So in what they have done for the curbing the antimicrobial resistance, there are different stakeholders to control the antimicrobial resistance. And these stakeholders are like the National Medical Commission is one of the stakeholders because it controls all the medical colleges in the country and all the medical professionals in the country. So the teaching part, training part regarding the antimicrobial resistance is given to National Medical Commission. Second part, the surveillance part. Surveillance is given to the ICMR. So they are responsible for the surveillance regarding the antimicrobial resistance. Then strengthening of the laboratory capabilities is given to the NCDC. NCDC as a whole is the nodal center or nodal person for the antimicrobial resistance. In this way, there are so many stakeholders in the National Action Plan on Antimicrobial Resistance. These stakeholders are not only for the human health, but from the animal, from the environment, from the food sector, and from the other sectors also. So this National Action Plan on antimicrobial resistance is uh, is by the government of India, and that should be applicable for all the medical institutions. And what we are doing everything. Even the National Action Plan is made on the One Health approach, but still we are doing lonely, individually. The human health is doing individually, the animal separately, and the environment is separately. So the coordination is necessary to control any disease, and this is the agenda for the One Health. Now, if the time is, Dr. Kuldeep, is there time is there or not? 5 minutes. So just to summarize, we have heard mainly, we have so many faculties here, and so many faculties are working on single rat model. And this rat model is used for different diseases, but they are not coordinating. Although this is the One Health approach, but they are the centric to the institute only. So this should be disseminated to the other centers, because you are going to involve multicentrically other institution and the health sector also, the environment and the animal sectors from outside, not only inside the institute. Second is Dr. Vikram Sani. Dr. Vikram Sani is very much concerned about the BSL-3 and biosafety laboratories. And so they are just giving the training regarding the BSL-3, but and how they should be utilized, and for this integrated approach for the One Health, they should coordinate for this. Then uh, Dr. Suresh, who is the given on the very much knowledge, and they have the real sense, the database also, and they are working on the artificial intelligence and other the media. So I am really thankful to all the all the panelists who are present here and who has given their insight for their research work. Thank you so much.
So same gratitude to all the panelists and all the audience for the lively discussion on various topics, as well as giving some light for the future endeavors in this regard to make this theme successful in true sense, because it is the need of hour. Hence, the many organizations, WHO is talking about this, but again, it should come on the real platform where things are happening and ongoing in a health for all.
Just 2 minutes. If any question from the audience or any query from the panelist, just tell. If you want to say something, you can say, or any question from the panelist. Anybody?
Yeah.
Madam,
Yes,
I would
Dr.
like
Prashant.
to highlight one thing, that morning we had a medtech program. Also, we heard about that in animal experiment. One of the medtech program that has been utilized, the animal rabbit model we have utilized, and that is coming into market. I believe things are going in right direction. So it's we are including slowly. We have established our central animal facility, and now we are slowly trying to include others, making it multicentric. We have received a grant with IIT Jodhpur, AIMS Jodhpur, and one hospital, university from West Bengal. So that's also a high level entrepreneurship type of a new instrument development program we have initiated. So slowly we are going towards multicentric. Another thing I would like to highlight here, that uh, normally we are utilizing the concept of animal model for the human disease process or pathogenesis process to identify the process. However, sometimes we fail in that, and that failure gives us the opportunity to identify why that animal is resistant to some pathological problems. So that become a very good, useful information or model for us to use in human health. So both way we are utilizing animal, but at the same time they give us some benefit for the human health also.
Thank you, Dr. Prasad.
Thank you, madam, for
Thank
giving
you.
us the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Prasad, Dr. Suresh, Dr. Jodawat, Dr. Preeti, Dr. Kamlakant, and Dr. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Should we have come there and have a photo session?
So there is a last session also, but uh, this is a video message by Dr. Sirish Sloor from Bangalore on the rabies. So we'll be playing this video and it will be recorded also on the YouTube. So we will break the for the tea also, uh, and at the same time we can see that video also. Thank you. And I think from since morning we have learned a lot of interactions, and the buzzword which has come out is a crosstalk, collaboration, innovations, and also multi-diversity, and also unity among all the sciences together is what is emerging as the one concept, one health concept. And this will form the backbone for writing a white paper on all the evidences which have been shared today in a form of white paper to the National Academy of Medical Science and later on to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So we hope that this collaboration will continue and it will strengthen further. And I'm very grateful to esteemed senior professor uh, Dr. Chudamani Madam for presence here since morning till late in this evening, and also all the people who are here from the morning till now. And we welcome you all again for the NAMSCON tomorrow. So tomorrow there is a great academic feast. There are fellows, around 150 fellows and members are coming. There are four members coming from outside India, and they are working on a different area. So I think this is a good opportunity for everyone to share. So Dr. Vidhi is also here. She has to wrap up, but I think this is over now. We have understood that is there is a need for collaboration, and there is a more need for collaboration. So with this, I end this CME and wish you all a great success in all the things which are going to happen in the future. And with this, I invite you for the tea also. Thank you.
इसमें नहीं आया
Kuldeep Singh and his team for giving a chance to be part of this very important CME and also for giving me a chance to share this information on integrating One Health in animal rabies control. Well, the deadly disease rabies needs no introduction. Also, needless to emphasize the major role being played by the dogs, with a special reference to the free roaming dogs or the community dogs in transmission of rabies, not just to human beings, but also to various other species of animals. You know, nearly 98% of the human rabies related deaths are attributed to the rabid dog bites, but nevertheless, the other biting animals, including the rabid cats or the rabid wolf, jackal, foxes, mongoose, they also could be the source of transmission of rabies to human beings. Considering the seriousness of this deadly disease that cannot be cured but can definitely be prevented, the World Organization for Animal Health, that was actually known as OIE, that stood for Office of International Epizooties, the headquarters of which is actually based in Paris, in France. OIE actually supports the elimination of dog-mediated human rabies. Well, we know about UAR, which stands for United Against Rabies Consortium, that comprises of WHO, FAO, OIE as it was known then, now it is OVA, and then Global Alliance for Rabies Control. They have taken a call a few years ago to ensure that the dog-mediated human rabies is eliminated from the world by 2030. Well, we are already at the end of the year 2024, hardly 6 years to go for all of us. We have to be working on war footing to achieve this zero rabies by 2030 as far as dog-mediated human rabies is concerned. Well, accordingly, the government of India has also launched what is called the National Action Plan for dog-mediated rabies elimination from India by 2030. This was on the World Rabies Day that was actually observed on 28th September 2021. Well, this NAPRE, National Action Plan for Rabies Elimination, has got two very, very important components. This is where the One Health functioning as far as integration of One Health in control of dog-mediated rabies in India is concerned. Animal health component comprises of the capacity building, the training, then the development of human resource, and most importantly, the implementation of mass dog vaccination supported by dog population management. As far as the human health component is concerned, primarily the post-exposure prophylaxis, the PEP, is actually emphasized, simultaneously associated with the capacity building, the development of human resource through various hands-on experience-based training programs. There are certain steps which a state will have to employ or follow to declare that state or a region or a zone or a district to be free from rabies. First, we need to ensure that the rabies is notifiable in case of both human as well as the animal sector. Then report the decrease in the number of dog rabies cases in that particular region. This should be followed by reporting a decrease in the number of human rabies cases in the same region, and then ensure that there is not even a single case of rabies in dogs for a period of 2 years minimum. Then this should be followed by absence of confirmed cases of rabies in case of human beings for a period of 2 years. Then only that particular region or the district or the zone will be eligible to announce that the particular region is actually free from the deadly disease rabies. Then only the state can declare that it is actually free from rabies. Well, considering a variety of challenges that we have been facing in India as well as South Asia, the KVFSUC Rabies Diagnostic Laboratory, with which I have been associated since last nearly 15 years, was established at Veterinary College in Bangalore, thanks to the CVA, with the support of which this particular biosafety level 2 lab, which is dedicated for animal rabies research, was established in India. And thanks to the OVA, through the OI twinning program that we implemented in our laboratory dedicated for animal rabies research, this OI laboratory twinning project actually went on for a period of nearly 3.5 to 4 years, from 2016 through 2019, wherein our team had a chance to be associated with the CDC Atlanta and then the APHA at the Weybridge in the United Kingdom. These two have been the OVA reference labs for animal rabies in the USA as well as the UK. And our team had a chance to visit these two OVA reference labs, and then the team from CDC as well as APHA, they visited our lab. So thereby, we were successful through this wide training program in strengthening the diagnosis of animal rabies in India. We conducted series of national level training programs. In this picture, you can see in the map of our country, you can see various veterinary institutions with reference to veterinary colleges, various other veterinary universities were supported for establishing a small animal rabies diagnostic facility as a part of this wide training program. And this was one of the successful programs wherein we were able to have a harmonized approach as far as animal rabies diagnosis is concerned in India. Well, as I already said, the establishment of our rabies diagnostic laboratory was actually a milestone, and we have actually four important mandates. As we can see, the diagnosis of rabies by employing the WHO or the OA approved test, and then we are also associated with sero monitoring, where we are into estimating the anti-rabies vaccinal antibodies. This is very important mandate of our lab. At present, we are employing this for international movement of pet animals. But now that the mass dog vaccination is also implemented in various other regions in the country, we need to have a tool to monitor the successful implementation of this mass dog vaccination program, which is actually the practically oriented approach to ensure that the dog rabies is actually controlled. And thanks to the DBT for supporting us to develop this recombinant G protein based ELISA, so which we have actually developed in association with the National Institute of Animal Biotechnology based at Hyderabad. And then the third mandate is phylogenetic analysis, the molecular characterization of the isolates of rabies virus from different parts of India, different parts of South Asia. And then we would like to identify the kind of sublineage which is actually lurking in India. Then final and yet another very, very important mandate of the laboratory is training workshop, wherein we are directly associated with the development of human resource as far as diagnosis of rabies is concerned, and then control of rabies with reference to dog-mediated rabies is concerned in this part of Asia. We have what is called RAB lab, which is nothing but the reference laboratory network for rabies. And globally, as of now, we have totally 14 OR reference designated reference laboratories for animal rabies. And the mandate of these 14 OR reference laboratories is to improve the diagnostic capacities of these regions, and then standardization of laboratory techniques, they develop the laboratory techniques, and then ensure that we have a harmonized approach as far as diagnosis of rabies in case of animal is concerned. Here, I just would like to emphasize that these tests are not only employed for the animals, but the same test can also be employed for the confirmatory lab-based diagnosis of rabies in case of human beings. And you can see here we have totally 14 OR reference labs in the world. Ours is the 12th, and this is actually the jurisdiction with which we are associated as far as capacity building is concerned. I said we are associated with conducting series of training programs under this capacity building for the purpose of development of human resource in this part of Asia. And then primarily in our training programs, we focus on collection of brain stem through the occipital foramen approach. This is one of the most simple approach as far as brain sampling is concerned. And this technique has revolutionized the diagnosis of animal rabies in this part of Asia. And this technique is not only employed for dogs or cattle or horses. These techniques are also employed for collection of brain sample through the wild animal rabies, which is also there in certain hotspots in the country. Well, this is a slide that shows the impact of our training program on occipital foramen method based training program. And nearly 15 to 20 times more number of brain samples are being submitted to the laboratory for confirmatory diagnosis of rabies. This is one major milestone. This is one major breakthrough. But our country, as well as most of the South Asian countries, as well as Southeast Asian countries, we have a big chunk of private veterinary practitioners. So they also play a major role as far as rabies diagnosis and control is concerned. So considering this important issue, we have also pitched in the private veterinary practitioners domain, and then we are also involving them. We are also training them. We are also well connected with the private veterinary practitioners. On being invited, our team, we actually conduct of international training programs, as I already said, thanks to Mission Rabies as well as the OVA RRAP. RRAP is for regional representation for Asia and Pacific, which is actually based in Japan, catering to requirement of the Asia as well as Pacific region, comprising of 36 countries. And here also we have identified several key topics for having harmonized approach as far as rabies diagnosis and surveillance is concerned in South Asia. Very recently, with the support from OA RRAP in Japan, our laboratory, we have actually established what is called SARABNet. That actually stands for South Asia Rabies Laboratory Network for harmonization of rabies diagnosis. Then subsequently, under this OVA sub-regional training workshop on animal rabies diagnosis, we have also trained veterinarians from 14 government officials from different South Asian countries. Well, this is where we can see the impact of the training program. This has been highly encouraging. Collection of brain samples and then diagnosis of rabies just by the side of the carcass. And this is what you can see the images from Nepal, Bangladesh, and a couple of other South Asian countries. And needless to say, the charity always begins at home. We have a robust rabies diagnostic approach leading to effective surveillance mechanism for rabies in India. Here you can see the glimpse of a series of national level training programs that we have conducted for our veterinarians involved in rabies diagnosis and control at the grassroots level as well as at the city level in different states. And this has been really amazing. Well, BBMP stands for Brihat Bangalore Mahanagar Palike. You know, we cannot be working under isolation. Like we have to have the veterinarians, the medical professionals working under the same umbrella of One Health with the support from most important sector, that is municipal corporation. So we got ourselves associated with the municipal corporation of Bangalore city with the support from Mission Rabies, and then we have established what is called a rabies helpline, and we have already initiated mass dog vaccinations in BBMP jurisdiction comprising of 8 different zones. And we have also trained several veterinarians who are actually associated with collection of a brain sample. Then these samples are submitted to our laboratory. In our laboratory, we actually diagnose rabies by employing the WHO approved test. What I mean to say here is, please appreciate there is significant reduction in the occurrence of laboratory confirmed cases of rabies in case of dogs in BBMP. The control of rabies is a wonderful model for One Health collaboration with the various other sectors. You know, the terminology One Health was actually first coined hardly some 20 years ago. But we, the Indians, we have been employing these integrated strategies at the human, animal, as well as environment interface. We have been living with the nature. We have been part of the environment. We have been associated with several livestock species as well as the pet animals since ages. We have been already practicing One Health, especially in India, since ages. But now the WHO, OI, as well as the government of India have embraced this One Health approach primarily to combat this deadly disease rabies. Good that the One Health Joint Action Plan is supporting the activities of the UAR and One Health in action at the global level. OA experts as well as the WHO experts, we keep meeting at the global level in different parts of the globe, and then we have the brainstorming session how to harmonize the approaches as far as diagnosis and then the capacity building and then the control of rabies is concerned. Because unless we control the rabies in case of dogs, it's really tough for us to think of controlling rabies in case of human beings. So all these multi-sectors have to be joining their hands for under this One Health umbrella. Well, recently we had this regional workshop for the OVA national focal points in Japan, where the OVA RRAP catering to the requirement of 36 countries is actually based. And then very recently, we also had the regional meeting involving the Asia Pacific region, where the human experts on rabies and then veterinary experts on animal rabies, all of them had a chance to sit across the table and then have brainstorming session and then evolve the feasible strategies for implementation of rabies diagnosis as well as control under the umbrella of National Action Plan for Rabies Elimination. State Action Plan for Rabies Elimination is also being planned and is also implemented in some of the states in country, and Karnataka is also in the forefront. We have to be strictly associated with various other multi-sectors, including the human sector, the forestry department, the revenue department, the policymakers, and with the various other sectors, including the vaccine manufacturers, the diagnostic institutions. And this has been already initiated in India with a special reference to Karnataka. One of the most important component under this One Health umbrella is the general public, the community. So it is very, very important for all of us, the experts, to join our hands to bring a kind of awareness among the general public. And this is what we are also into. And since last couple of years, we have conducted series of such awareness programs, especially when we observe this World Rabies Day on 28th September every year. Well, this is as far as the joining of hands by the animal health professionals as well as the human health professionals with other sectors, including the civic bodies, the municipal corporation, when we observe the World Rabies Day. And here we can see the awareness for the general public, awareness for the students, and awareness for the other sectors. Very recently, just this year itself, just last month, we had a series of activities carried out right from the free anti-dog vaccination programs and then free anti-rabies vaccination program for the risk group of human beings, and then bringing a kind of awareness for the student community, for the general public during, Mysore Dasara is very, very famous. And as a part of Mysore Dasara, so we had also our dedicated rabies awareness stall installed there, wherein we were able to show the rabies viral inclusions to the students and then other general public. That was one of the most successful awareness oriented program. And then very recently, with the support from WHO as well as OA, rabies in our country, India. Well, before I close, let us offer our respectful pranamas to this great scientist, Louis Pasteur, who actually saved the mankind through the development of the first anti-rabies vaccine way back in the year 1885. That 6th of July was the first boy, the first human being, he was actually vaccinated, and then his life was saved. And that's the reason every year, 6th of July, we actually celebrate that day as the World Zoonosis Day. And then every year, 28th of September, we observe that day as the World Rabies Day, because it was on 28th of September that the great scientist Louis Pasteur, he passed away. So with this, let us work collectively against this deadly disease, rabies, with an attitude of never give up. And in his own words, his strength lies purely and solely in his tenacity. Tenacity means patience. Let us work collectively with immense patience for the sake of our society, for the sake of our country, by joining our hands to end the human deaths because of the deadly disease, rabies, which is primarily mediated through the dogs. Thanks to you all once again. Thanks to my team. It is always the team that is always the successful. Thank you so much. Greetings to you all. Sabko namaskar. First of all, I